Sukhmani expounds the bliss that comes from the divine name. It bestows poise on the heart of the devotees, peace of mind from the name nectar of the God, and the minds of the devotees abide in joyful peace. Remembering God, one does not enter into the womb again. Remembering God, the torture of death is dispelled. Remembering God, death is eliminated. Remembering God, one's enemies are repelled. Remembering God, no obstacles are met. Remembering God, one remains awake and aware, night and day. Remembering God, one is not touched by fear. Remembering God, one does not suffer sorrow. The meditative remembrance of the God is in the company of the holy. All treasures, O Nanak, are in the love of the Lord. By meditation of the Lord, wealth, miraculous spiritual powers, and 9 treasures are attained. In the remembrance of the God are the true knowledge, meditation, and essence of wisdom attained. In the remembrance of God, virtues of chanting, intense meditation, and devotional worship is attained. In the remembrance of the God, duality is removed. In the remembrance of God, the merit of purifying baths at sacred shrine of pilgrimage is attained. In the remembrance of God, one attains honor at the divine portal. In the remembrance of God, one becomes good. In the remembrance of God, one flowers in fruition. They alone remember Him in meditation, those whom the Lord inspires to meditate. Nanak grasps the feet of those humble beings. The remembrance of God is the highest and most exalted of all. In the remembrance of God, many are saved. In the remembrance of God, thirst is quenched. In the remembrance of God, all things are known. In the remembrance of God, there is no fear of death. In the remembrance of God, hopes are fulfilled. In the remembrance of God, the filth of mind is removed, and ambrosial Naam, the name of the Lord, is absorbed into the heart. God abides upon the tongues of His devotees. Nanak is the slave of Lord's slave. Those who remember the Lord are truly wealthy. Those who remember the Lord are truly honorable. Those who remember the Lord find approval at the divine portal. Those who remember the Lord are exalted among people. Those who remember the Lord are free of all desires. Those who remember the Lord are monarchs of all. Those who remember the Lord dwell in peace. Those who remember the Lord become immortal forever. They alone engage in remembering the Lord, unto whom the Lord Himself is merciful. Nanak seeks the dust of the feet of God's devotee. Those who remember the God generously help others. Those who remember God, unto them I am forever a sacrifice. Those who remember God, their faces are radiant. Those who remember God abide in peace. Those who remember God conquer their souls. Those who remember God have a pure and spotless lifestyle. Those who remember God experience all joys. Those who remember God abide near the Lord. By the grace of the Lord's devotees, one remains ever awake and aware, night and day. O Nanak, this meditative remembrance comes only by perfect destiny. Remembering God, all tasks are accomplished. Remembering God, one never grieves. Remembering God, one speaks of glorious praises of the Lord. Remembering God, one is absorbed into the state of intuitive ease. Remembering God, one attains the immovable seat. By remembering God, man's heart lotus blooms. By remembering God, the unique celestial melody plays. To the joy attained from divine meditation with remembrance of the God comes no end or limitation. They alone remember Him upon whom God bestows His divine grace. Nanak seeks the shelter with such devotees. Remembering the Lord, His devotees become famous and radiant. Remembering the Lord, the Veds were composed. Remembering the Lord, we become Siddhas, celibates, and givers. Remembering the Lord, the lowly becomes known in all four directions. By the remembrance of the Lord, the entire universe was created. Remember, remember in meditation the Lord, the Creator, the cause of all creation. By the remembrance of the Lord, the whole creation came into being. Where God is remembered, the formless Lord Himself is there. By His grace, He Himself bestows understanding. O Nanak, the Gurmukh attains the boon of remembrance of the Lord. Slok. O destroyer of pains and suffering of the poor, O master of each and every heart, O the masterless one, Nanak prays, I have come seeking your shelter, O God. Ashtapati. O Lord, be with me. Where there is no mother, father, children, friends, or siblings, there only the name of the Lord shall be with you as your help and support. Where the great and terrible messenger of death shall try to crush you, there the Naam alone shall go with you. Where there will be great hardships, so very heavy, the name of the Lord shall relieve you in an instant. By performing countless religious rituals, you shall not be saved. The name of the Lord washes off millions of sins. With Guru's guidance as Gurmukh, chant the Naam, O my mind. O Nanak, you shall obtain countless joys. All the rulers of the world are unhappy. One who chants the name of the Lord becomes happy. Acquiring hundreds of thousands and millions, your desires shall be contained. Chanting the name of the Lord, you shall be freed. The manifold player of the riches of the Maya quenches not a man's thirst. By chanting the name of the Lord, he shall be satiated. Upon that path where one must go alone, there only the Lord's name shall go with you to comfort you. On such a name, O my mind, meditate forever. O Nanak, by Guru's guidance as Gurmukh, you shall obtain the state of supreme dignity.